Ya wena drive.
Sanibonani, dumelang. Molweni Mzansi. Welcome to another exciting episode of Transit Ringas. I'm your host. My name is Isaac Lesole. So today we're going to be dealing with something very, very, very serious. And I need you to sit down and take your time to listen to this. Because today we are dealing with gender-based violence and femicide in public transport. This is a very, very important subject. E hlokang hore nna le wena we must go down on it and really just get to the bottom of it. The truth is that there are people who are even afraid to go into taxis, Uber, or generally public transport because of the past experience. Sometimes it's not even the past experience, but the things that they've had in this space. So today we're going to be talking about that. You think of a situation where your child, asebedisang scholar transport, who's afraid to go to school because of how she was treated. Especially, I'm saying she because gender-based violence, it's something that's done towards people that are supposed or seen or perceived to be vulnerable. And in the main, these are women, children, elderlies, disabled. And today we're going to talk about this and see on how we can really combat, prevent the occurrence or the regular occurrence of this important subject. So Mzansi, today, I don't care what your situation has been in the past, but from today, as passengers, as the people of this country, we are taking a new decision and we're going to take you through the journey on how we're going to do this. But how do we know that gender-based violence is a problem? I mean, the president has spoken about it. The president has declared gender-based violence and femicide a pandemic in this country. Because people, vulnerable groups, bomme, bana, maqheku, are being taken advantage of in their homes, in the taxis, in the buses, in the school bus, in everywhere, in a Bolt, in an Uber. It can't go on like this. So today we're going to be dealing with this subject, and I need you to please stop everything else, and just focus on what we're going to be talking about. But let's start here and say that we can no longer push back because it's the time ya technology. The time for digital transformation is now. And some of the problems that we've not been able to solve as a country over decades, this time technology is going to help us solve them. But there are certain things that have been happening. We've just not taken note of some of the things that have been happening in our country in dealing with gender-based violence. And I think I'm going to say today that I think as a country, we've missed a big opportunity. Because as a country, we've taken a posture of being reactive because we can only wait for tragedy to happen. And then you go to the police station and go and report it. But I'm going to venture into something very serious. And I know that some of the officials might not be happy with what I'm going to say. I'm going to start by saying, immediately when you see centers being developed for victims of GBV, it means that we have missed we've missed the mark. We are reacting to a problem that has already occurred. When you see somebody at the police station reporting a case, it means that we are reacting to something that has we've missed it. Because I'm going to make a statement today and say that when you see someone at the police station, we would have missed serious signs before that occurrence. We would have missed anger, we would have seen aggression, we would have missed abusive language, we would have missed all the actions that are building up towards the final tragedy, somebody taking a knife, stabbing, somebody taking a gun, or assaulting the opposite sex. So as a country, we have prepared ourselves for victim empowerment. And victim empowerment only means that we're talking about people who are already victims of something. But the big question that we're going to have to answer today is, does this mean that there is nothing else we can do? And I'm going to say that there is. And I want us to look at something, because there's something that's already happening. And you know, when you go to the police station, when you go to the police station, there's something called an occurrence book. An occurrence book, the purpose of an occurrence book at the police station is to record everything that has happened or that is happening even before a case is opened. This means that if Isaac is an aggressive person who always threatens you with violence or uses language that shows they're actually ready to beat you. They're just holding themselves up. Not reporting that is robbing us of very important intelligence. And an occurrence book, which is why the police have got an occurrence book, is to record all of these things so that when something happens, we already have some kind of a pattern that we can use in a court of law against a person, against a perpetrator or a criminal. But we don't use that same methodology, or we don't use that same platform, to report gender-based violence. Mzansi, we are now I said it, and I'm going to repeat it. Don't worry about people that are trying to bully us. Don't worry about people telling you you can't report everything. You can. There's a movie I like. I think it's The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. It is important to keep the diary. It is important to keep record of everything that happens around you, especially in public transport, because public transport has become very unsafe. It has become a ground where people are being harassed and victimized. And today we must decide whether we want to perpetuate and allow that situation to continue, or we're stopping it here. So I'm going to introduce a few things to you today. And we're now going to talk about this occurrence book, a digital occurrence book that is available to you as a passenger, available to you as a pedestrian. It is available to everyone who cares and uses public transport every day. And like I said, in this case, we're talking about all modes of public transport. But we're also going to demystify this myth that drivers are the only ones that are perpetrating violence or gender-based violence. I'm going to say today that even fellow passengers have been very, very rude in dealing with vulnerable groups. How many times as a gentleman, you got into a taxi or a bus or a train, and you specifically chose to sit next to some lady, and you know that you're making them uncomfortable because you've pushed them too hard, or your legs are open and you're comfortably touching her in ways that you can actually even see that she's becoming uncomfortable. How many times have you had an interaction with a driver and the driver has accused you, or rather promised you that I will beat you? How many times has that happened? So, so gender-based violence has got as men, and I must sit here as a man and take responsibility and say that unless I change, and you as a man, I would want to believe that a decent man that I believe you are, that we can create an environment where our people are a bit protected. So we will, let's talk about what exactly can we do. And I know that I spent a bit of time on what this whole issue of GBV is and how it is perpetuated in public transport. But what is this? What is GBV? GBVF, unwanted advances. And we know, as men, it's not wrong to share love, guys. It's not wrong. But there's a point where the person of the opposite sex will often tell you that I am uncomfortable with this conversation. I am uncomfortable to share with you my details. I am uncomfortable to talk to you about this subject matter in this environment. When you go beyond that line, you know that you have crossed the line because the person would have explained to you how you make them feel. Verbal harassment, threats of violence. It has become so easy of late for everyone. Maybe it's the right, it's a constitutional right to say it's speech. But people are saying anything and everything as if there are no boundaries. We have constitutional rights, but we also have responsibilities. And your rights are not bigger than mine, especially in my environment. Physical assault. Nobody has got a right to do so. Stalking. We've had big incidences of kidnapping and reports on kidnappings in the country of late. It's a new crime. And sometimes it's because we have not made it part of our lives to report things that are making us uncomfortable. So the fourth element is kidnapping and stalking. Let me tell you that a person who kidnaps you, who eventually kidnaps you, will start by stalking you, following you. Let me tell you that if you are not observant of your environment, you might have missed this person, but that person was too clear, was there for you to see. You knew, you felt uncomfortable with this person following you. You have been uncomfortable, but you've not reported this thing to anybody because there's no platform. As a matter of fact, we know that even when you go to the police station, the police are going to ask you, but did this man beat you? Did they assault you? And because of those type of questions, we have decided not to report anything. I am going to encourage you to do something completely different. If the police are not going to record this report as an occurrence in your life, you now have an option of recording it on your own digital diary, and that's Transit Guard. So when you go on our bio, Transit Ringas bio, you're going to see that there's a tree there of all our platforms or social media platforms. And when you go into that, when you click into that, it's going to lead you into a platform, and there's a button there that you need to click on. Is the button? I think it's report an incident. You will see that you can report anything. You can report a vehicle. You can report a driver. You can report a fellow passenger. You can report school transportation. You can report anything and everything, just so that you have an opportunity to leave record and a record of everything that happens around you. So imagine a world where passengers could document their experiences instantly, where every unsafe moment, every dangerous route, every hostile driver, and all fellow commuter, all of that is recorded and reported. That's the power of technology. That's the power of Transit Guard. That's the power. That's what makes Transit Ringers a different podcast. A podcast that we don't just talk about stuff. We talk about things and empower you as the passenger, as the commuter, to do something about things that are troubling you. It has been reported that 50% of women in the public transport space have been harassed before. So this means that we have a big problem. So what we are doing today, we are introducing a real-time passenger and pedestrian, a digital diary for you. A tool that allows you to log incidents from any taxi rank, from within any bus, train, Uber, Bolt, as they often happen. I mean, these are serious things. And remember, there are people who have even decided that I am no more going to go out. I will never go out for a drink at night, because South Africa, we have a very interesting nightlife. But there are people who have excluded themselves from participating in the nightlife for fear of harassment. People are not safe. People are not safe. So what we are now doing is to provide you with a platform that would enable you to report anything, anytime. But most importantly, very, very soon, a platform that would even allow you to share that right, regardless of whether it's a private vehicle, whether it's a taxi or a bus, it doesn't really matter. You will be able to share that right with somebody, and we can monitor how the driver is driving with you. So what we are doing with this exercise is that we are taking the power back. For the longest time, we have been waiting for people to do something to us, and then we report them. Let me tell you, if somebody is raising their voice on you today, if that person is threatening you of violence today, soon, unless something is done, soon that thing might morph into some serious tragedy. And I can only charge you and implore that the time is now and the technology is now our friend. You can now report all of these things, and all we're going to need from you, all you need, is to change the way you've been doing things, you as a passenger. You just need to change. It is important that, at least, if nothing else, any vehicle that you jump into, do yourself a favor. Just capture the registration number of any vehicle, taxi, bus, private vehicle, whatever it is, and make it your business that you report anything and everything that happens during your commute or during that journey. And this is not really about reporting anything and everything bad. We understand. I mean, I've used taxis many times before. Still do actually. I'll tell you this: that there are drivers who are just making your journey a very pleasant one. But on the same platform, we've seen people drivers getting awards, and we don't know awards based on what. Can we, as the passengers, take the responsibility of reporting the good and beautiful behavior? We must compliment when good things are happening, but we must also be able to speak about the things that are not good. But yeah. No, I understand. I understand that you would not want to report anything because you are afraid that you are going to report and the driver or anybody that you have reported will come back for you, target you, victimize you more, and all of that. No. We said that this is the age yet technology. What it means is that the only thing that you need to interact with this digital diary, this digital occurrence book, this platform that we're talking about is your smartphone. You really need to follow Transit Ringas on all social media platforms and download our platform onto your phone, on your home screen, so that you can, from any time, you can decide when anything happens, you can report it instantly without anybody knowing or seeing that you are reporting. So usage of your smartphone is going to be the biggest change of how we are treated. You don't have to make the driver or the passenger know that you are reporting them, but it is your responsibility to make sure that you report that, because every time when you report, you are making it better for somebody else and maybe for you yourself. You've traveled before, right? And there are spaces. You are on the road, and then they will tell you that this is a high accident zone. There's a big board somewhere on the side of the road. They say that this is a high accident zone, or beware of rocks, or beware of animals. That means that somebody or a number of people would have reported that area as an area that either has rocks or animals, and we can do exactly the same. If me and you and somebody else and 5 or 10 of us report the same registration number, we will be able to flag that registration number and see what is it that we can, what can be done there. Because more often than not, if a person is aggressive to you, chances are they are aggressive to somebody else, and they are aggressive people naturally. So chances are, if you report this person now, the other person is going to report them again. Now, once you report a vehicle, once you report a driver, once you report a passenger, all of those things are now going into this digital occurrence book, and we can be able to take those reports and single out every vehicle, every driver, and see what that kind of behavior. Because then this is where what artificial intelligence, because now we can be in a position to predict this behavior of this person, predict the driving pattern and behavior of this specific vehicle. But it would take you as a passenger, as a commuter, to make a conscious decision that every vehicle that I am jumping into, all you need to do is just to know the registration number. But you now know that everyone is going to be watching you after this episode and many others. If you shoot you take a picture of a registration number, others are going to be very uncomfortable. Don't do that. Find the safest way of registering or taking the registration number, because once the registration number is you input it on the platform, whatever else that you report, whether good or bad behavior, is going to be linked to that specific vehicle. The time to take this responsibility in our hands is now. Because when we do this, we will be able to prevent certain things from happening, as opposed to you waiting for somebody to hit you, step you, kill you, and then the police and everybody comes running because now a tragedy has already occurred. There is an opportunity for us to change the situation, but it requires you. So from today, the one thing that's going to be required from you as the passenger is that you are going to make it your daily responsibility. Stop sleeping. I've been in a bus, in a taxi. People are sleeping in these vehicles. Come on, what is this? Spending your time in... No, Isaac, is because I wake up at 3 o'clock because public transport is... I understand all of that. I understand all of that. But there are incidences where you see certain things. You can tell when the driver is driving in a particular way, when you are uncomfortable and all of that. Please make it your business that you report that. All of that information is going to come to us. When it comes to us, I'll bet with the last dollar that our responsibility is to just use your report and not your personal details. We don't share the personal details. So you have an opportunity to report just what your observations are or your opinions are. But you also have an opportunity to lay a formal complaint. But let me just clear this up. We are not replacing the police. We are not replacing the national GBV hotline. When you are a victim, we will encourage you to please go to the police, to please call the GBV hotline. Wherever you are, call that. Because these are people or the institutions that are legally empowered to deal with your matter. Ours is to help you keep the record of these daily occurrences. And don't miss that opportunity, because even after reporting that to the police, you might find that you have reported this before to us, and this evidence can be used to help you in court, because ours is to keep this record, give it to authorities and say that on this day, on the 4th of December at 11 o'clock, you reported that the driver of a vehicle, registration number, blah, 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 was aggressive with you. Now, because we have captured the registration number, we will be able to share that information. You can actually even call us and say that you have now reported, you have now fallen victim of gender-based violence, and you now need all the reports that we will give you those reports, and those reports will go to authorities, because they can only be used in informal environments. Otherwise, people's records will be everywhere else. We will never do that. So your records are kept, will be summoned by courts for us to make those records available. So the request that we're making today, go into Transit Ringas, follow us on YouTube, follow us on all other social media platforms. Make sure that you download our platform onto your home screen like all others. Let it be there so that anytime when you want to report, you can report. It will give you options. You can report. I mean, there are certain things that are happening, even at a taxi rank. You know that you could walk into a taxi rank and people are starting to catcall you as a lady. You are being objectified. There's a group of men standing somewhere. Let's know about that specific taxi rank, because we want to flag that taxi rank. We want to flag that bus stop. so that at least we can then have targeted approaches and say that this is a place where a number of cases of GBV are being reported, and we can allow authorities to do something about it. So we asking that this report must be, everybody must report, say anything and everything in accordance with the subcategories that you will see there. So please use the platform, use it as often as possible, so that we can start building a huge database that will eventually help you. But the question is, can this database be helpful? Yes. All those reports are going to help us do two important things. Make sure that we are proactively stopping certain things from happening. They're going to help us ensure that if the driver is the one who is negligent, who's drinking and driving and doing all the other things, all those reports will empower us to be able to develop a report that we can send to the owner, and the owner can be able to do something about that. So there is no record or report that you're going to send to us that is useless. Never think something is not important. So I'm saying to you, anything that the driver does, anything that the vehicle does, anything that happens at a taxi rank, anything that that you are uncomfortable with when a fellow passenger is acting up next to you, report all of those things, because all of these things are coming into the space where we can be able to do something about it. It is now a choice. It is now the choice that you, as the passenger, need to make. You need to decide whether, because you are still safe and you've not felt anything, or any of the things that you hear about have not happened to you, don't wait until it happens to you for you to report. Don't wait until it is too late. There's a platform, it costs you nothing. You're not going to be charged to do it, but report so that either you today or somebody else tomorrow could be saved by that kind of report. But all of us are now going to take the power of the quality of service that comes to us. The service that we're receiving, we are going to determine how we get it. We're going to now dictate to the service providers how we want to be treated. It is time that we are now holding people accountable. We are going to make sure that we are treated with dignity. We are going to make sure that there's justice in public transport. But please, if anything has happened to you already, call the hotline, GBV. You will see the number on the screen. Call that and report that matter. If it is something that has not been, it was not that acute, it was not that serious, but you have now seen that people can be aggressive with you, use our platform, because this platform is going to help you moving forward. We are going to now be proactive and no more going to hold anything back. So as I'm about to conclude, I'm going to ask you for the following things. Transit Ringas is creating a digital diary for you to use, because the one that you use at home sometimes gets stolen. But as it relates to public transport, please record everything that happens in this environment. And that platform is available on our bio. So use that link and things would look better and we can save lives. But don't do that alone. Encourage others to use the platform. Once you get a hang of it, share it with others and encourage them to use it, because your report, their report, and his report and her report is going to help us build a huge database that we can use to save lives. What is important about all of this is that now, once we know what exactly is going on, we are now going to demand the change of laws. But laws can only be changed by data, by the information that you're sharing. You cannot change laws unless there's a need. And the government or the state will never know what laws to put in place because you are quiet. So don't accuse anybody when people think that we are comfortable. And we know that we are not comfortable. So we are going to use these reports and we are going to aggregate them, use them together, and change and advocate for better laws for ourselves. But above all things, this kind of information, it gives us the power and the opportunity to engage with the service providers. Because the intention of what we're doing here is not to make people small devils and then no, that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is that we want to use this database so that we can share it with others and improve the quality of service. Remember, the only reason why Transit Ringas exist, we are your premier podcast in public transport. Nobody will speak about public transport like we do. So if you are a commuter, if you are a pedestrian, the only safe place to be at is this one. So use this platform to communicate with us. Use this platform to say whatever that you go through. But also, most importantly, I've seen the MEC and I think the minister giving drivers awards. These are awards based on what? Based on what? We are going to give the minister and the MECs reports on drivers, reports on vehicles, reports on taxi ranks, so that everyone knows what exactly is happening. So let's talk about that driver who is really polite, who's giving you the best service, who's responsible with your life. Let's talk about that driver because the platform allows you to do exactly that. So report and compliment them for the best service. And because that's important. Because the truth is that we've seen the taxi drivers stopping on the side of the road, stopping a woman, an abuser hitting a woman on the side of the road. These are the things that we expect from our brothers and sisters in the public transport space. Public transport space is now going to be safe. It is going to be safe because of your activities. The rank is going to be safe because of your reports. The vehicle is going to be safe and clean because of your reports. The driver is going to behave better because of you. So South Africa, this is a starting point. Remember that in the next episode, we're going to have a few other people we're going to have guests that are going to speak a little more on gender-based violence and femicide. All we are doing today is to introduce the platform to you to say that we now have a platform where we can report. Let's report so that when we call the minister and the minister is sitting here, or the DG or any of the officials is sitting here talking about gender-based violence, we can give them reports based on what you would have given us. Don't waste this opportunity. So from me to you, I'm saying technology has given us something new. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us your time today. Make a choice. Take the power back and dictate how you receive your service. From your boy, Isaac Lesole, until we meet in the next episode. Peace.
Yo, en het rijdt.